Welcome back to Christian Questions on News Talk 104.7 WXLM. Our subject this morning, can there be good grief? To be a part of our program, call 860-442-9956. That's 442-WXLM.
And Jonathan, this is a subject this morning that is a very difficult subject. I'm sure we've all been touched with grief in our lives. Again, sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's you experience it vicariously through another's experience. But in all cases, we all know what it's like to have that sense of loss and that bewilderment as to, well, what do you do with it? Want to just touch on one other experience, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to read the whole thing. Jonathan, let's go to, on page 4, John 11, 1 through 44. This is the account of the death and raising of Lazarus. Let's start with verse 17 and just go through that section, because it really keys in on the grief of a number of people, including Jesus here.
And why don't we take our call before that long reading?
Okay, good idea.
All right, welcome to Christian Questions. This is Jonathan and Rick. Who are we speaking with?
Good morning, gentlemen. This is Julius.
Good morning.
Good morning. Rick, you're a long way from home, I see.
Well, not that far.
Not that far. Yeah, great topic. I would say, you know how sometimes you're tempted to list the top 10 of something?
Mm-hmm.
Like the top 10 scriptures, the top 10 records, whatever. I would say this topic could be rated one of your top 10 of all the topics. That's that's quite a thing to say. I mean, it's pretty difficult to say. In any rate, could there be good grief? And I would say the answer yes, on the basis of the scriptures. And I think that's the most difficult question facing a Christian and a Bible scholar, and so many of us, is why do bad things happen to good people? And God is allowing grief, suffering, for us to be tested, to teach us lessons. That's a very basic philosophical outlook. I couldn't help but before I appreciated Randall's call. That was an awesome scripture he gave.
Yeah, very good.
But I liked your reference to God and Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
How they grieve, how they are emotional in terms of expressing compassion and so forth. The Genesis scripture, chapter 6, is awesome. And also, you're going to read. I'm going to dip into your notes, I think. Jesus wept.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think we're going to read.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
coming.
Here's one key point that I like to make. With grief, we should be careful not to fall into the trap of self-pity. And I think the scripture that Randall mentioned, Matthew 14, I think it is a case in point where Jesus did not go. He meditated. He no doubt reflected on John's death, John the Baptist's death. But then he went and he was proactive. And I preach to my peers, whoever listens to me. You want to avoid depression, self-pity. Be active. Do something for others. God bless. Have a good day.
Well, thank you, Joyce. Appreciate your call.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
And
Bye-bye.
Jonathan, we'll get back to some of Julius's comments later, probably in the second hour. One of the things to understand, though, about dealing with grief is sometimes you have to let a part of the process, one of the phases, work its way through. And for some of us, just having that numbness set in, you gotta work through it. You know, it's like if your arm falls asleep and you can't feel your arm, you can't just instantly wake it up. You gotta shake it and you gotta do whatever you gotta do, and it's just gonna take a little bit of time for it to come back to you. And that's one of the things we need to be careful of as we look at and deal with grief, is allowing the process to happen. But Julius, thank you so much for the call and for those words of wisdom about avoiding self-pity. let's go to the experience in John 11, Jonathan, and we'll pick up with verse 17. And now this is Jesus coming to Bethany, and Lazarus has died, and he purposely stayed away and allowed Lazarus to die, of course, because Jesus had the power to heal. So let's drop in on this experience. And folks, as we go through these verses, really focus on the grieving that takes place in all corners here. Go ahead.
Then when Jesus came, he found that he had lain in the grave 4 days already. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died.
Now, just very quickly, Jonathan, you notice that Martha runs out to meet Jesus, and Mary sits still in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've got two different reactions happening here. One has that feeling of paralysis, and the other is going out to do something. Go ahead.
But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. Jesus saith unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? She saith unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. And when she had so said, she went her way and called Mary her sister secretly, saying, The Master is come and calleth for thee. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came unto him. Now Jesus was not yet come into the town, but was in that place where Martha met him. The Jews then, which were with her in the house, and comforted her, when they saw Mary, that she rose up hastily and went out, following her, saying, She goeth unto the grave to weep there. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was, and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled.
All right, pause right there for a second, because there's a number of things. One of the things Mary's reacting to is the knowledge that if Jesus had been there, he could have saved Lazarus. She knew that. She had great faith. She had seen and heard of the healings that he had done, and she knew that Jesus had the power. And so in the middle of this grief, one of the things that happens is you look at the circumstances, and we always go through the if-onlys or the what-ifs, and that's part of the process of trying to sort it out. Okay, go ahead.
And said, Where have ye laid him? They said unto him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept.